Ever had that moment where the floor drops out from under you, where every pillar of support in your life collapses all at once? For the early Muslims, this total systemic collapse happened in a single devastating period, known as al-Huzn, the year of sorrow. The Quraysh had already made Mecca a suffocating environment for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers. They imposed a brutal economic and social boycott, forcing the early Muslims into a barren valley, cutting off their food supply and freezing all trade. It is one thing to maintain faith when life is stable. It is an entirely different test when the physical world actively starves and isolates you. Right as that exhausting 3-year boycott finally lifted, the Prophet faced a far deeper loss. His wife, Khadijah, passed away. She was the very first person to believe in his message, and for 25 years, she was his emotional bedrock. This illustration from the Seerah shows the traditional homes of Mecca, representing the profound domestic void left behind. Just weeks after losing Khadijah, the Prophet's uncle, Abu Talib, also died. He was the primary physical shield preventing the Quraysh from assassinating the Prophet. With that earthly shield gone, the leaders of Mecca immediately escalated their abuse. Physical harassment multiplied, making the streets a daily risk to his life. When your internal emotional anchor and your external physical protector vanish at exactly the same time, how do you take another step forward? Seeking a new sanctuary, the Prophet made a grueling 60-mile journey by foot across this harsh terrain to the neighboring city of Taif. He hoped its leaders might offer the protection that Mecca had stripped away. This historical illustration captures the brutal reality of their response. The people of Taif rejected his plea entirely. They organized a mob, lining the streets to hurl stones and insults, chasing him out of the city until his feet bled. Exhausted, injured, and deeply isolated, he eventually found cover in an orchard outside the city walls. Every earthly door had now been violently slammed shut. He had no tribal protection, no home to safely return to, and no new allies. At this moment of extreme vulnerability, divine intervention arrived. The angel of the mountains made a terrifying offer. Say the word, and he would crush Taif between the 2 surrounding mountains. The trauma was fresh, and retribution was entirely justified by the rules of tribal warfare. Yet the Prophet refused the offer. Instead, he prayed that even if this generation rejected him, perhaps their descendants might eventually find the truth. Meeting such cruelty with mercy requires supreme restraint. Demonstrating that exact character was the prerequisite for the divine elevation that followed. Because the earth had closed its doors to him, Allah opened the heavens. This is the context for Al-Isra wal-Miraj, the miraculous night journey. The green arrow on this map traces the miraculous night journey from Mecca to Jerusalem. But the journey continued upward. He ascended into the heavens, where earthly sorrow was replaced by the direct divine presence. He did not return to earth empty-handed. He brought back the command for 5 daily prayers. These prayers were never meant to be a heavy burden. They were given as a believer's own personal ascension, a direct daily lifeline to the divine, when worldly grief feels too heavy to carry. When he returned to Mecca and shared this experience, his enemies immediately mocked him. But true believers stood firm. Abu Bakr accepted the account without a second of hesitation, earning him the title As-Siddiq, the remarkably truthful. We see the tide turn in this illustration of a secret nighttime gathering. The patience planted during the year of sorrow bloomed when a small group from Yathrib accepted the message, leading to the pivotal Pledges of Al-Aqaba. That severe isolation was not the end of the mission. It was the necessary crucible that forged a resilient community, setting the stage for the Hijra to Medina and the eventual establishment of Islam. The year of sorrow offers a specific orientation for navigating our own hardships today. It teaches us that hardship is not a sign of abandonment, that we can meet cruelty with grace, and that prayer serves as our own personal ascension above worldly struggles. Building this kind of unshakable faith and resilience in your own children requires connecting them deeply to the Seerah and the Quran, so they grow up grounded in their Islamic identity. At Muslim Quran Academy, expert native Arabic-speaking tutors help kids understand and love these foundational values through flexible, live, one-to-one classes. Book your free try-up class today and start their journey.